10 seconds.
I'm venussx.
Hello, welcome to our show.
And you are here with us, Hotties in VR.
I'm lilybitvr, and welcome to our show. And we've got our new hottie.
I found the avatar. I found the one. I love her so much. She is perfect for me. I have spent
SerendipitySkye's
weeks
has found her Abby. Finally, something that represents her. So just tell us about it. Tell us why you picked this one. It's a hottie. Definitely a hottie from outer space.
Oh yeah, she is so hot. So like I was just saying, like I spent weeks looking through so many gumroads. Yeah,
Like,
she's got great accessories. Let me see. Let me pull up some of my other goodies. Oh yeah. Here. I love
glittery legs.
the jetpack.
The jetpack. What does that give you? That gets you just like flying.
Yeah, that way
Outer space.
I can fly in outer space without my UFO. I guess it wouldn't be a UFO to me though.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't. It'd be a
Well,
sexy
be identified
spaceship.
to you.
A spaceship of love.
Yeah. Yeah, so I am obsessed with UFOs and aliens, and I never even thought that I could bring that into my avatar form. But I was joining all the Facebook groups for avatar creators and going through every page I could find. And then I found this one, and it was just like, it popped out like, oh my gosh, this is me. This is the one I've been waiting for. And she is so perfect, and I adore her, and I love every little detail, and I could change all the colors. Like, I would show you guys, but I spent a lot of time picking out the exact right shades, but I could change the color of my skin. I could change the intensity of the hue. I could, let me show you. I could show you a couple little goodies without having to change too much. I got this cute little star wand. These little light trails.
You can grant you all
do?
your wishes.
Will you bless me? Bless me.
Yeah.
Yes, just one wish I have.
Bless me too.
Lily bits.
Yes. May your wishes come true.
I hope so.
I can't get over the
I need a wish to come true.
It's interesting, the alien, like, that you didn't think to search for sexy female alien. That's not really something that's in our paradigm. We don't talk a lot about that. Generally, aliens are just ugly, grey, boring, quite autistic in their interactions, and not super, not super gregarious like you are. So it's good for me to see another representation of relating with aliens.
If you think about it, if you think about aliens energies, like even in the movies, like we've got some sexy aliens already representing, for example, Princess Leia. She was an alien. She was from another planet in Star Wars, all those movies. She was an icon, a sexy icon. What about that movie from like centuries ago? What's it called? With that lady that used to teach aerobics, Jane Fonda, Barbarella. That was another movie where she was such a sexy alien. Well, she was from Earth. She went to another planet, so she was the alien on another planet. I saw that movie. You have you seen that, Venus? That movie, Barbarella.
No.
You have to watch it. It's a really, really, really I'm into all movies. I love black and white movies, all that kind of movies. Barbarella
is it black and white?
She goes to another.
It's that old?
No. That one is not. No, it's not that old. It's a color, but it's like Jane Fonda when she was like young, she was a sexy icon. In that movie, they go to this other planet and she gets captured and she gets put in a torture machine. And this torture machine is actually a sex machine. It's like an orgasm machine. So basically, they put her in this sort of cute thing, and all you see is her face.
Yeah.
And that's where it's from. And then all it is that they're going to kill her with orgasms, one after another.
Yeah.
It's a hot,
that's right. That was the
very
machine.
sexy scene.
Yeah, the orgastic machine. Yes.
That's from that movie. Duran was the bad guy.
Looking into that. Yeah, right. Yes, like actually forcing her into orgastic state.
Yeah. That was
I heard about it, and I think I've seen the snippet because it's so iconic.
Yes.
But I don't think I've sat and watched the whole movie.
Very iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very old movie, but it's actually really good. Sexy aliens.
Serendipity. What's the use of the stilettos and the platforms there? It's like super high. Do you dance?
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to dance. I mean, I could dance in some worlds, and one of these days I'm going to get full body trackers. Lilybit introduced me to a friend of hers.
And then
just,
you'd be a
was that yesterday
alien.
or the day before? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh, yeah, I need full body trackers now.
Yes, me too.
So, Serendipity, have you had an actual experience, like with aliens, that you wanted to share with us? Like, where does this come from, this affinity you have?
You know what? I can't even think of when it started or how it started, but it's been going on for years. I think it may have been right around the time that was it the New York Post had shared videos that they obtained from the Pentagon of a UFO. It's like what is it? It's the little black and white one where all the guys are on the radio and it's just like it's like not flowing, flying really fast through the air. I think the video is even called Go Fast. And like all the guys tracking this in the Navy are just like, whoa, what is this? And it's like they have all the speed and everything. But what really stood out to me is that the Pentagon was like, yeah, this is real. We don't know what this is. And so from there, I started reading more and more and watching more and more documentaries. And it's insane, like how many former top level military officials have come forward and said, there are UFOs and we have no idea where they're from. And they defy all of our logic on, what we can do. Like they're going Mach 100, just like completely beyond anything any human aircraft could do. And it's just like, it's out there. Like the truth is out there. I know that sounds ridiculous, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of people think that it's some conspiracy theory, or, I feel like there's a stereotype that people believe in aliens and share their UFO stories are like country folk. What's up, Lily? You got something on your mind.
Yeah, I do. It's about what you're talking about. It's so true that, the Pentagon and all that, they're saying that these things are true. But did you know that archaeologists and people that investigate, things from a long time ago, places like the pyramids, and even like in my culture, the Aztecs and some of the Olmecas and some of those, they have found hieroglyphics on their buildings. That's how they used to communicate. Like that was their way of writing these stories.
Yeah,
they have symbols that kind of are very difficult to kind of decipher, and they have recently. And some of the theories is that they were actually visited by aliens, and that's how they became so advanced on some of their constructions, and that's why they were like it wasn't the Aztecs because it was the other one. So I'm very bad with
the
names,
Mayans,
but another one of the Mayans. They were fantastic astronomers. You know more about that.
Yeah,
they were very good astronomers. And there's a theory, and they always we talk about a god that they always say that they will come from the heavens, and that is one of the reasons. I don't know, when the Spaniard the conquistadors came to, Central America and Latin America. The reason that the locals were so eager to open their arms and welcome them, this is not Christopher Columbus. This is like Hernan Cortés and these other people. And they were able to conquer the civilization so easily. It's because they had a legend that this God that came to help them and show them so much said that he was coming back again. And he left on a sort of towards the heavens. They didn't say a spaceship as such, but they say he left towards the heavens.
Yeah.
So when Hernan Cortés came on these weird alien boats, years and years and generations later, and he had blonde hair on his face, like he had a beard and he was blonde, they assumed he was the God that came from the sun. They left to the sun, came back, and that's why they greeted him. And that was so easy for them to conquer the Aztecs and the Mayans and all those cultures.
All right.
That's because of
I
aliens.
believe it. Yeah, I believe
Mhm.
it. I mean, UFOs are in the Bible too. I don't want to get into religion or anything, but like Google UFOs in the Bible. Some people even speculate that angels were actually UFOs because, people think of angels as being these beautiful women in flowing robes with big white wings.
But
But
that's
if
just
you
how
look
they
at the
were.
biblical
Yeah, that's just how they were
descriptions, it's nothing like
drawn
that.
by somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
Yep,
where did
exactly.
the idea of an angel come from? I think it was just
Yeah.
drawn by someone, and that became a concept that we all accepted. They have wings.
Yeah.
They can fly. That's definitely one
Because
element.
the wings
Is always there.
The wings could have been, like your rockets that you have. If an alien
Rocket
has
jets.
sort of rockets in their back,
Exactly.
rocket jets, and that's why
Yeah.
they could fly. There were actually people thought they were
They have a
wings, but
halo.
they weren't.
As
That
well,
could have been the
a
helmet.
halo
Look at
around their
that.
heads.
See?
That could be their helmet. Look.
Because
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah,
that saw
totally.
the halo, then as when you tell the story and you pass it on, the story usually gets distorted. So instead
Chinese
of the halo
whispers.
being on their necks, they end up on top of their head. But maybe that's what it was. Something like that.
Yeah, could be.
We figured it out.
Yeah,
there we go.
so
I mean, I'm hearing
I have
you
spent
different.
so many
Did you
hours.
notice that?
Yeah.
Because you're here on Earth with your helmet or your breathing support, your voice is actually different. Like, can you hear that? It's like
It is a
Interesting.
little
modulated
bit,
your
yeah.
voice.
It's slightly muffled because I
interesting.
think it's the helmet that she's wearing. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I wonder if that does make a difference. I
Fairly
could take the
sure.
helmet off. I love the helmet, but let me try taking it
let's
off and see
try.
if that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just see if there's any link to that or not. Because you just sort
I
of
don't
sound.
think it would be.
Ooh, nice. See.
Okay,
Ooh, very
do I sound
sexy.
any different? Or is it just the headset,
No.
It's going to
maybe?
be so tricky, isn't it? No,
It's
I
the
think-
headset. Yeah, it's just the settings on the headset. But, that makes you more accessible. Like that helmet is a good way of saying to guys, stand off, I'm not for you. Back off. It's like a
Yeah.
force field. And then when you take it off, you're like, okay, you can, you can
You're
get
allowed
closer
to come in a
me,
little
you know.
closer. Yes.
You're
I will-
allowed to get more,
I will
more of
breathe
me.
some of your air. Yeah, I will come closer to breathe your air. That's like
Yes.
really
Or you can
intimate
come
for
and
you, right?
You can come and get closer and smell my hair and, get intoxicated with my beautiful alien smell. Yay! I love it. I love it.
I could take the antenna off too, but I
Beautiful.
don't
Yeah, I
want
love
to.
your
I love
hair.
the antenna.
No,
Right.
leave it the way you are. It also reminds me a
Yeah.
little bit of that alien from Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm a very big movie
Yes.
buff. I love movies.
Yeah, the
I
antenna.
can't remember her name. I'm very bad with names. I'm very good with faces, but terrible with names. Mantis. Is it Mantis? It's actually
I think that might. Yeah, I think that's it. I think
Star-Lord's
so.
sister, Mantis. And she can actually control people by touching them. She can actually feel their emotions as well as give them
Ah.
emotions by just touch.
Oh, I wish I
She's
had
the
those
ultimate
powers.
empath. Yeah,
Well,
she's the
we
ultimate
I do.
empath.
I think we do have that think about it for a second, what she said. So that's not necessarily a superpower. It's like, think about if you touch someone with like real presence, and I don't know, empathy or an openness to feeling what they're feeling, I think that we might actually get some signals. And Reiki, I guess, is an idea. You know, Reiki, whether it's like not hands-on, it's sort of almost just an energy connection. I don't know much about that because I'm more of a hands-on person. I can then also imagine that I can give you good energy for my hand.
Yes.
Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
you can.
Yeah. So we all have that.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I think we all have that ability. Let's just practice it.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's a little
And maybe
bit
you have it
like
because you're an alien.
meditation. You know, when you're meditating and you're completely unfamiliar with the that sort of that practice, it takes a long time to actually get in the zone and all that sort of stuff. The more you do it, the more you practice, the better you get at it. The same thing with energy transfer. You know, I've done it myself. When you're trying to heal someone, okay, I mean, you're not going to cure cancer or anything like that, but to actually maybe have a little bit of your good energy transfer onto somebody who needs it because maybe they're feeling down or upset or something, that can happen. It does drain you, the person that's giving the energy. It does drain you, so you do need time to recover afterwards, because then in exchange you actually change the bad energy onto you. But it can happen, and the more you practice, and people are a little bit more attuned than others. Some people can just do it easily, and some others, you know, you might have to work at it a little bit more. But everybody's capable as long as you keep practicing.
I practiced doing something a little different, not taking on the bad energy. Initially, I did, and was noticing, and I talked to a therapist about it, and they were like, "Okay, when you feel that energy, what you do is don't have to go, oh, fuck off, like that's bad, but like wrap it in love. So like take the thing, wrap it in love, and then send it back to them." That's another practice
like
that I did, yeah. Okay. And I think, so it wasn't a rejection of it. Wasn't taking on all of it. I was still helping them process. I was wrapping it in love and sending it back to them because it's not mine. That's yours. So yeah, something to try.
I don't know if I can, because it's energy. I think of it as more as like a electrical current kind of thing. You know, there's no stopping it. There's only, you can transfer it through cables and all that. And what happens is like with thunder, even though it's energy that's coming from clouds crashing and all those sort of particles and all that, at the end of the, it does become like how you call that in English, a trueno. It's like the lightning. It's still like, it looks lightning. Like a road, it's like a path. Lightning is like a path, Yeah. It's not like everywhere. Yes. It's a lightning that hits.
No, it goes to a grounded point. Yes, exactly. It actually has to find what's it called? A ground.
A ground. But that's because the energy wants to stay together and travel together. So that's why it's very, very good to conduct electricity through cables. That's a really good way of controlling it, because that's what energy wants to do. So when you say that you take somebody's bad energy and you wrap it around in yours and then you send it back, that's giving them their bad energy back with a casing of good energy. I don't think that works. I think the way it has to be done is that you take the bad energy onto you, but then you somehow have to make sure that you go somewhere else that is not a person to release that bad energy. If you give it back, that bad energy does not get transferred into good energy. It's just in case.
Yeah,
it's
like
a little
well, the love bomb. Transforms it is the point. I think that I imagined that's the love that transforms it. But yeah, cool.
Yeah,
maybe
so
it's like water that watering it down.
Yeah, I'd started taking a course on Reiki, actually. This is a subject, like, I keep coming back to it and I keep getting sidetracked. But I started a course on Reiki, and basically what you're supposed to do is you put a form of protection over yourself so you're not absorbing it. You're just sort of taking it and releasing it from them.
Yes, you insulate yourself somehow. The parts that need to be,
like insulation,
so that you're able to.
So it has a bounce off, and you just straight away.
And you release it somewhere else. Yeah, I mean, I see the way you're saying that if you wrap around with love, it's a little bit like sort of saying, so if this person's bad energy is like, or bad feelings or whatever it is that's troubling them, that energy is lemons. you give them a bit of water so they can make lemonade with it instead of. So you're not really getting rid of it, but you kind of making it into something a bit more pleasant, easier to digest in a way. Kind of.
Yeah,
Really?
there you go.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, but it's very, very interesting, all that energy transfer. Because talking about that, another thing that I have also, I'm also very interested in all that sort of stuff. Not so much the Reiki. I know it's very useful, but I really don't, I'm not knowledgeable on it at all. I do believe in it, and I think it's very helpful. But another thing regarding energy, did you know there are a lot of people that sort of say that, oh, this house is haunted and, it's the energy, whatever.
Hmm.
It's not so much that there is a ghost as such. What it is that when you're in a place and somebody comes in and frightens you and it gets you to kind of expel that sort of emotion because your body does expel those feelings, especially the strong ones, they get embedded onto the walls and all that. So that's what all houses, they have that sort of eerie feeling of, oh, every time I walk through here, I get a shivers or I get scared. It's not that there's a ghost. It's just that you're walking past and the emotion that somebody left centuries ago, you're feeling it again. And it just depends how sensitive you are. You might feel it more than others. So you get the feeling that, like, oh, I'm feeling sad or I feel like scared. That's why courthouses, where they used to hang people and all that, they're such a very sort of strong power
Oh,
places to be at. Because what you're feeling is all
yeah.
that pain that people had felt, even though it's not their ghosts, it's just their energy left embedded onto the plaster of those buildings.
Yeah.
Interesting how energy can get blocked in this physical space. I don't quite understand it, but it's interesting how
Oh,
things
yeah.
can get locked in a certain area and sometimes need some other things to help it release. Like
Yes.
house exorcisms or smudging and doing a ritual where you're clearing the whole space with sage. That's sort of a mild way of doing it. In fact, it's beautiful to do that every day, just to clear your space with some white sage. It sort of works on an energetic level. Or just
Maybe
also
I do that after
sage,
we get sick.
but mixing it with some lavender and do you? Okay.
Hmm.
Does it help?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if it really does, but it's a
It's just
way for me
soothing.
to feel like I'm doing something to release that yucky energy. Because, like you were talking about the energy getting
Okay.
stuck in places, but it also, I don't know about you guys, but it also gets stuck in like inside. I have a hard
Yes.
Oh, of
time
course.
with that. Like the just energy builds up inside of me. And I was just going through that pretty recently. And I went to a sound bath hoping it would help get this energy out. And it's been trickling out. I've been able to release it a little at a time, but it's hard. Sometimes,
It's
I don't know, it's just stuck.
it's maybe like how you've got rivers, and sometimes in the rivers you've got these little beavers that build dams on them, because they like to sort of
Little dance.
I don't know why they do it. I know
Yes.
know enough about beavers, but they build that so they actually block the flow of the river. So maybe in a way we've got little beavers in us inside, blocking our energy that somehow we need to sort of tell them, hey, don't do that. Leave some to release it. Otherwise the water will stay still and it will become all stinky. You need water to flow. So we need to control those beavers.
That's really interesting. So talking about stuck energy, you could also look at it as, water is the analogy that you have, and that's our emotions. So I find that when I'm feeling all stuck and blocked, I come back to, okay, the purpose of water is to flow. It has to flow. And so perhaps I haven't expressed my emotions and allowed my emotions to flow when I needed to. And then I move on and go, it's all okay. But that water that didn't flow, like Lily's saying, sort of almost dams up and then it becomes toxic because it becomes stagnant and there's no oxygen movement. So
and that's why crying
maybe
is
you
so
could look
healing.
at it as, and also going out and just lying on Grandmother Earth, like just face down. I need to do this actually, take my own advice. Go lie face down on some beautiful grass and just cry or speak, but actually just release emotion through my belly, if that makes sense. Like through my fibers, I shoot them down into the earth and just tell her all of the stuff that's going on and sort of do a little verbal purge. Yeah, that's sort of
Yeah,
one
I
way
like
to
that
use nature
idea.
and connect. Yeah, and then you can also then turn your head to listen to what the earth has to say to you. Just listen for a while.
I did hear about a guy. I think I saw this in social media, but then I looked into it a little bit more. It talks exactly what you're saying about that. It is very important to go outside, actually in bare feet, and ground yourself
Yeah.
to the
Discharge.
earth because it helps.
Yes, talking about
not
lightning.
not just
Yes.
but
Yeah.
not just discharge your energy, the energy that is stuck and needs to move. Is also we need energy from the earth. The magnetic field that the earth has at the core. It needs to feed us to keep us going, keep us healthy. And because nowadays we've got paved roads, we live in houses, we have shoes all the time, and usually these shoes, they have plastic insulating soles. So it's so important for children to walk around in bare feet because of this reason. They used to say, oh yeah, it's because the little feet need to develop certain muscles and blah blah blah. So walking bare feet is actually very healthy for them. But another really, and probably the most important part, is because they need that energy from. There was a lady, she was a doctor, and her baby, when she was a baby, a tiny little baby, suffered from colic. She would cry all the time, this little baby, all the time from the moment she was born. And she said that she discovered that if she sat outside in a garden chair, which is a timber chair, a natural product, in the garden, with her baby in her arms, the fact that she was touching the ground, the earth, it was actually soothing her baby, and that was the only time her baby would stop crying. So she looked into it. And now there are actually devices you can buy. It's like a wire with a sort of a metal, like a conducting path that you put into your on your bed underneath your mattress, and the wire gets connected, and you stick it onto the ground. It has to be real ground, and then you sleep on it. And they said it's like the best sleep you've ever had because of that energy coming from the earth when you're sleeping.
Oh, I need to try
Interesting.
that.
That's had made a wire to do it though. Instead of us just spending time outside. But
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, that would be the ideal.
There's a way around.
But if you have, but if you have a very busy life, and this is like the alternative, at least you're getting something, and then start to crawl before you can walk. Little steps.
But I think there's something about the discharging on an electrical level, just connecting to the lightning piece. That I think that we also live in such an electrified space. We're in Wi-Fi zones all the time. We're on computers. There's visual stimulation. There's all of this going on, and we're almost like a little electrical buzzer. And I think that the going to the earth is a form of like decharging some of that electricity that we have, and it's probably essential, like what you're saying, essential for us to do that, especially now because we're in so much electricity.
Oh yeah,
I think you're right.
I'm going to go do that. Yeah,
I think so.
I go to the cemetery.
I
go to the cemetery. I find it a really cool place because generally there's hardly anyone there, like no one often. There's nice grass because they look after it, and you can just go and lie down there. Yeah, I find it cool. And then I can sort of
it's
just be
interesting
crying.
you brought that up.
And if people see me, they'll be like, "Oh, that's normal because she's at a cemetery." Does that make sense? I can be like, on the ground. And I'd be like, "Yeah, that's fine." And maybe just walk past.
That's a good point. Good idea.
When you'd mentioned laying down in the grass and releasing the energy from your belly, that was the first thing that came to my mind is maybe I should go to a cemetery, specifically my dad's.
Wow.
I live in the desert, and my front yard and backyard is all covered in grass and mulch, like wood mulch. So I don't have any grass that I could connect to. But a cemetery would be the perfect place. Yeah.
Yeah, but
it
it doesn't have to be grass. It does not have to be grass. Rubble, mulch, as long as it's a natural material, it's fine. And it's connected to the core of the earth, dirt, sand. You know why when you go to the beach and you go for a walk on the beach is if it makes you completely exhausted, but at the same time, the very next day you feel so refreshed and so energized.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
because you're getting all that energy walking in the sand. So it does not have to be grass.
Yeah, you're right.
Grass is nicer
have
to
dirt in the
lay
backyard.
on.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
that doesn't sound fun though. Oh, I'm gonna go lie on the dirt. No. I mean, something for me is like finding something luscious that actually can, like you said,
Yes.
you can then draw energy up from the lusciousness of the grass and the trees. You can do it from the dust as well,
Yeah.
but and charge and rejuvenate yourself by sucking the energy up through your pussy. Would be the way to do it, or through your feet.
If you're
But,
sitting down,
you know,
that would be
How do
ideal.
you wait? How do you
that would be
suck-
ideal.
Okay, so sitting down.
Okay.
Well, you're sitting on your
Okay.
sitting on
Well,
the
you
grass.
could be like just sitting like we are now. You could be because there's a contact there. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
ground and the genitals, or you could be laying flat down, or you could be sitting on a log, straddling a log,
Yeah.
and just like breathe in. I would sort of like do the discharge beforehand and then breathe in and imagine maybe squeeze my pelvic floor muscles and just imagine I'm drawing energy in up from the earth.
I like that.
I don't know, suck it up. Yeah, and it's also giving you a
Plus, I mean,
little exercise, Kegels exercise at the same time.
Yeah.
But if you have the
Working
intention
while your energy.
to bring it up into whatever chakra you want. And so if you have an idea that you're blocked in the, let's say, I don't know, I'm angry, and that would then block my heart energy, would block the chakra here. When I'm angry, I'm just like, fuck you, fuck everything. I'm not going to be able to express lovingly or communicate very well with you. But let's imagine that I had that problem and I use that energy, actually intend it to go to my heart to help me release the anger. That's one example.
Yeah, that's
I
very,
need to
very
learn
true.
all about
That's
the chakras.
But that's if you want to take it to the level of a bit more expertise, it's like a little bit like the difference between going to a high intensity cardio class, where you do high impact aerobics and weight training and all that stuff. You need to go to the gym to be able to do that and get some sort of assistance with someone that teach you the right exercises. You don't hurt yourself. But if you're a little bit intimidated of going to the gym because you don't know how to get started, just a simple going outside in your garden with a chair, take off your shoes and your socks so you're in bare feet, and put your feet on the ground. It doesn't have to be grass. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just as long as it's the ground. And then just sit there and read a book or listen to some music. And that is enough to at least get you to the next step. Because once you absorb some of that energy, you'll be able to be a little bit more clear-minded and then be able to actually tackle the more intense, like, where can I go to actually do and work on my chakras and concentrate and meditate? Because you didn't need to learn about all these things. Be able to control your body. Energy is a bit like a muscle. You need to learn how to work with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think having awareness of it and working with it is a muscle, definitely. Yes. And just, there's no rules, really, I think. Like I talked about that exercise, I don't think there's any rules in that. You can just do it however you want. But it's a little bit like ecosexuality is a little bit what I'm touching on. We've talked about that in a different episode. But when I mentioned straddling the log, for me, that's touching on ecosexuality. I'm having this relationship, this communication with nature that is on the edge of erotic, or it can be orgasmic even, but maybe not in the traditional orgasmic way, but it could be orgastic. There's a difference between orgasm, like being orgasmic, and being orgastic. Do you know what it is?
I don't.
Slightly.
I've never heard that.
Have you heard orgasticness before? Like being orgastic? Okay.
No.
It's probably a
I think they're
shamanic term.
cousins, but I
That's
don't
why.
understand
They probably,
the difference.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the same on the same wheel. Obviously, there's orgasm, and then there's orgasticness, I can't remember what the other two are right now, but how I understood it was orgasm, yes, the more physical experience, can be genitally based, but can also be a full body experience. But orgastic is more the being in a state of perpetual orgasm, almost. Being in a state of orgasticness means I'm just so connected and in touch with life, nature, and myself, and I'm just sort of like in the state. So it's more of a state, whereas orgasm is sort of a thing that
Is
happens.
it like bliss?
That's how I
Yeah.
Is it
understood it.
like a bliss
And
state?
yeah. You could possibly, that's maybe the tantric or sort of more, what am I trying to say? The Indian approach might be more like the bliss, and the nirvana. But no, I think it's, for me, it's if I'm aware that I can be orgastic in this moment, like when I'm looking at that flower, it's like this orgastic moment. That's sort of the difference. It's not orgasmic. And it just helped me to expand my concept of how I have this sexual connection with the everything, actually, if I want to nurture it, if I want to see that.
I got it.
And yep,
I
you
got the
it.
definition. Orgastic is the oh God, I lost it. It's the
I lost it.
adjective. It's the adjective. Orgasmic is the verb, because a verb is to do and the adjective is to describe.
Okay. I can see that.
Maybe we could look it up. I wonder if it's in the dictionary. I don't even know if orgastic is in the dictionary, or whether it's just purely this.
Yeah, because you can't say
teaching.
You can't say, "Oh, I'm having an orgastic." You can say, "I'm having an orgastic moment, an orgastic feeling." So that's why orgastic is the description of the emotion or the it. But orgasmic is the actual action. I'm having an orgasm. I'm orgastic is that I am actually, it's me that's experiencing it. It's not the, I'm getting confused. I know nothing. I'll just sit here.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Say nothing.
I loved it. Look, it's a funny little game because it's such a little difference. I do actually think that Reich, who was the one who was getting into building that orgasm machine, I actually think that that's where I first heard orgastic being used. It's sort of like more of a scientific approach to it's the energy. It's the energy that is produced from the orgasm, you could say, is orgastic. And maybe that's what
it sounds similar to
they're trying to harness.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it sounds similar to a flow state, like when you're just in the moment and things are happening naturally and everything feels right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Creativity brings that out, definitely.
Creativity can be orgastic.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely. For me, one is sunbaking or, communing with the sun. That can be orgastic. And then going for a swim.
Yeah.
I guess it's something that gives you pleasure. But I'm in
that state.
And it doesn't have to be sexual pleasure, maybe. But it feels like sexual pleasure, but it's
erotic.
not.
I say it's erotic. So then it's like, it has this element of that can be sexual. We can actually have an erotic connection in every moment with everything, actually. And it's not connected to sexual. But we're having sex in a way. So it depends what you want to say. It doesn't really matter. In the end, we have a sexual connection with everything. Male, female, come together, union.
Exactly. I think you're right about that. And I think it's because, when you say that something is orgasmic and it can be something that you're eating, for example, it's not because you're not necessarily feeling it down there. I don't like using those sort of terms, but, down there. But it just means that kind of, when you have those emotions down there, when you're intimate with someone, those are very strong emotions because you don't feel it just in your mind. You feel it in every single cell of your body. It's such a strong emotion. And it's a connection, and it's energy, and it's everything. It works your heart, it works your lungs, it works your muscles. The whole body is involved, basically, in an orgasm. So when you're having an orgastic experience, it's kind of describing that it is similar to having an orgasm, but it's not sexual. It can be erotic, but it's not necessarily sexual. It could be something very, very pleasurable that involves a whole bunch of your senses, maybe.
Yeah, I've heard of women experiencing experiencing that while giving birth, which I couldn't imagine for myself personally. But I've heard it exists, and I've heard it's not all that uncommon, which is interesting. And it's kind of like you were saying, like it's your whole body involved in it, and maybe that's how it happens. I don't know.
Maybe because if you're very much a person that tends to feel a lot, you know how they say that there's a very fine line between love and hate, and between pain and pleasure. You know, sometimes even we were talking in another episode about the spanking side of things. You know, like if spanking is done at the right moment when you're aroused, it's pleasurable. You know, and it's something that's supposed to hurt. But maybe, you know, people like that, because they have such an anticipation of having a child, maybe, and it's such a emotion and love, and there's such of eagerness that even though they're going through that pain, they sort of associate that this is pain, but it's going to have a result that is going to bring me a lot of love. So that's why it becomes orgasmic, maybe.
Yeah, and you just mentioned anticipation, and that reminded me of something that's happened to me a couple times, where I've actually had spontaneous orgasms because I had this big special event that was coming up, and my body was just so keyed up, and all of a sudden it just happened. Like one day I was driving the car with my husband, and we were going to be going to a rave that night, and I was so excited for it, and I had been looking forward to it, and all of a sudden it washed over me, and it scared the hell out of me at first, because you don't expect a random orgasm when you're just driving in the car. Like, there was no sexual contact at all. It just happened, and I had no idea what was going on at first. It was really interesting. That's happened to me twice now.
What do you actually mean? It starts in the genitals? Like, what do you mean? Is you have a sensation that runs through your body, or is it in the mind?
It's a straight up orgasm.
It is a straight up genital orgasm, but it started in your mind. Physical. It has to start in your mind, because you were thinking about it. And that's why women...
Yes.
I think it's a little different for guys. Guys is a very physical thing, but girls, our orgasms, they start in our minds. If we're not in the right mindset, we do not experience an orgasm. Even if the guy is doing or the girl is doing the right things, pressing the right buttons, it's not going to happen if it's not. It doesn't start in your mind, and that's why you had it without any, maneuver, any sexual actions. It was in your mind first. My best orgasms have been when I'm asleep, when I'm dreaming. If I'm dreaming,
I was going to say that.
That's when I have the most amazing orgasms.
I used to be able to do that on demand.
Incredibly wild. Really? No, it hasn't happened very often. But yeah, it's like in your dreams. It's like really intense, isn't it? And I wake up often with the pulsing.
Yes.
And
yes, like, I feel like it always wakes me up.
Yeah, it's very physical. Yeah. If I'm going to be honest here, if we're going to talk about this subject, I'll confess, ERP, for me, I'm very shy in the real world. I get too much on my head. I overthink everything. So sometimes, because it starts in the head, I sometimes have trouble with that sort of side of things. But here in VR, because I'm wearing an avatar, it's like a costume, but I do have to see it in the mirror and all that. But if I am doing the ERP thing, my orgasms in the real world are amazing. I shouldn't be saying that because this is YouTube, but I mean, of course, it doesn't mean that I can just pick anybody and it happens. I think we're allowed to talk about
normal, human behavior.
Well, I don't know if that is.
I think so.
It's the new normal, I guess. Going to have to be the new normal because it's safer. But it's a very emotional thing. Again, it cannot be just anybody. It has to have a connection, build a relationship, like a sort of trust. And because it starts in the mind, once I'm there, it's just amazing. It really is.
Yeah, it's happened to me. Like the spontaneous orgasm thing has happened to me when I've been like in front of other people too, which was a little bit embarrassing. I don't think anybody ever picked up on what was going on. But there was two instances I can remember where I was with friends and all of a sudden it just happened.
Would you say, can I ask a question? Would you say at that time you were having less or more sex at that time, or no distinction?
I'd say no distinction. Me and my husband are sorry if any
On
of
it.
my family is watching.
Yes.
I don't think they
Excellent.
will. I don't think they would want to.
No, I don't
But
think.
we're very
Don't worry about that.
active.
They don't know about
Like all the
they don't know
time.
about hotties
so.
in VR.
That's normal. You're married. That's
Yeah, cool.
healthy.
So you you're one
very
of
healthy.
those you're one of those women that people talk about that have spontaneous orgasms. Like it's a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, it doesn't happen a lot, but it's happened, I mean, I'd say at least 5 times.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Because
I think that means that you
I
just
do
got
think,
a good flow of energy. Like you must be having just a really
but
open
because
flow of energy.
but also, well, maybe because sometimes I'm very blocked, like in the real world. Okay, let me say it a different way. You are actually sexually active, and so, but that's not why she's having these spontaneous orgasms. Because in the real world, I'm not. I don't have anybody at the moment, and I haven't for a little while. I haven't actually had sex in a long time, if I'm honest. But I can have orgasms in my bedroom by myself in VR. So that's what I'm saying. It has to start in your mind. It does. It's not a physical thing.
It all
Not
starts
for
in the
girls
mind.
anyway.
All of it.
Yeah, you have to feel safe.
For anybody, the mind is the biggest sex organ.
Do you reckon it's the same for
know
guys?
that.
Because I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming, but I don't know.
It's still the biggest sex
Is it
organ.
always, is it for guys?
I think regardless of gender. Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, after all, we are both.
I don't think you can separate like on a gender level like that with that. No, we know that it all starts here. It doesn't all start in the cock just because they have a cock. I don't know. I think this is still what's working for male bodies as well. It's just my opinion. I can't back that with any scientific evidence, but and the heart. Yeah, like I think there's this assumption or a bit of a stereotype out there that men, incapable of actually coming from their heart space and from an understanding of psychological connection and providing safe space for women. So just be careful of that. I think it's out there, but yeah, I think they're also wired in the same way in that the connection comes from our mind, and they also want to be stimulated in that level as well. Yeah. Sure, they get hotter quicker.
I think
they might get hotter. Their body physically gets hotter quicker, you could say. It's a bit like, the male body is much more like fire energy. It's like you just look at it, blow it, and like, whoo, it's on. And then but the female body is much more like water. So it's the water element, which means that if you've got the fire going, you're boiling the water, but you're also boiling the water. It takes a little while to boil the water, right? But then once it's boiling, it stays boiling. And that's really something that people need to understand. The fire can go and then be gone. And so having that understanding about the difference, like that's just an instinctive difference between the male energy and the female energy coming together sexually. It's fire and water. And sometimes, if you look at that analogy, sometimes the water could even put out the fire. I don't know. There's a working together of the two that's important.
Maybe
the fire's
water
there so that we
needs
boil.
To become steam.
Yeah, and then it becomes steam, and then that's the fire and the water together. Yes, that's it. That's the union.
That's literally what happens. Yeah.
I've got a question for you,
that
Venus,
is what happens.
specifically.
It gets steamy. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think some people have a more natural flowing sexual energy than others. There's some people out there that they're not physically attractive, but they're like extremely sexually magnetic. Like I call it ugly hot, but like, they're not physically good looking, but there's just something about their energy that's really sexual. And I'm just wondering, like, is there a way for people to, um, what's the word I'm looking for? To attract that sexual energy into themselves and start vibrating at that level? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
of course there is. I think there is a learning that you can take a learning path for that. I would say it's about building self-acceptance to start with. It would be a bit of a journey, building self-acceptance,
Yeah.
looking at shame that we have, looking at the places that I blame other people and I don't take responsibility. And then from that platform, learning how to be more confident. Or from self-acceptance, you will naturally be more confident. But then there would be like
Yeah.
some ways how to be more magnetic is what I'm hearing. So generating your sexual energy, being aware of your erotic energy and generating it within yourself would also make you more magnetic.
Okay.
Yeah, so meaning
Yeah,
intentionally, you could intentionally use your erotic energy when you self-pleasure, for example, to for your own health. So not just to have an orgasm and get rid of some tension, but to actually move your energy for your own health and be vibrating on that level, on more of an erotic level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about what the energy that you're vibrating out is like I'm quite open to connections in different ways, in different formats, and I'm able to communicate about that with you. Does
Yeah.
that sort of
I like
answer your
that.
question? I think there'd be a few
It does,
steps,
yeah.
to finding, what is your juice, like what makes you really juicy and feeling really confident so that you're taking that space, taking that space in the world that you are destined to
Yeah.
take, that is
Yeah.
yours. And using your free erotic energy doesn't cost anything. Which is,
Yeah.
remember that. It's the one thing. And that's why there are people that want to squash it and why there has been a repression of it, because it's free and it belongs to us and we've got it at ongoing source. It never ends. Isn't that amazing if you think about it?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's starting to jump into a whole other realm of sexual magic. So we'll leave it there. That's a different stream.
How do you think you could How do you think you could help somebody find their confidence? I mean, does that I feel like it kind of has to come from within. Yeah.
I have heard a very good advice on that. I can't remember who was from, but they say, just like everything, when you're practicing and all that, the saying, fake it till you make it? It's so true.
Yeah.
So you start to pretend first. It's like a simulation in a way. So if you pretend to be confident and you just try to remember, who do I want to be like, and imitate them, you copy people that you want to be like. So if you imitate them, you become aware of how it feels to be confident, even though you're not feeling confident, you're pretending, you're an actor at the time. And eventually you start become very familiar with it, with the emotion, and then it becomes natural after a little while. And I think there's something to this the entry level of how to become confident.
Good tips.
Serendipity, I would say I think there are confidence coaches out there. It's something that I've played with before, like thinking, could I call myself a confidence coach? But I've actually got a new title. I worked out my new job title just the other day. I'm a virtual sensory designer. venussx, virtual sensory designer. Yeah, isn't that
really
cool?
cool.
So drop the whole intimacy coach thing, because it doesn't really make sense. And I'm also, much more expansive than just that. And so, my coach helped me find that. So I have a business coach marketing coach. So that's what we came up with. But what I wanted to say is, yes?
Sorry, can I have a title of cuddle puddle expert? Cuddle puddle coach.
Okay, you want that one? Cuddle puddle coach. lilybitvr, cuddle puddle coach. Okay, sure. I just wanted to touch on, we're going to wrap up soon, this episode of Hotties in VR. But I just wanted to touch on what you were asking, Serendipity. I think it's like Lilybit was saying, you can simulate things and that will help you build your confidence. So, for example, coming into VR and doing a role play that could be around how you communicate or how you express your desires, and then that being a really positive experience. So doing that with a coach or someone who's able to hold that space for you, I think would actually work. I can't give it to you, no, but I can provide a space where you can practice these little steps of doing it either differently to how you were before, or trying something you've always wanted to try, or just stepping through exercises that I would give you. And so we work together.
Yeah.
And in that simulated space, you would then have the opportunity to go, oh yes, I can do that. Oh yes, look, I'm attractive to this person, or this is flowing. You know, whatever it is that you sort of, whatever it is, that's what I think is possible. Definitely. Simulated
like that.
experiences where you learn. So maybe it's because you haven't had the opportunity to really just like grow into your own confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Because
And
I
sometimes
have
that's
to
because
say
you
that
weren't
since I started playing
reassured,
VR,
perhaps.
yes,
Perhaps you were never reassured and just congratulated. Yeah, fantastic job. That's great how you're doing it. And maybe you never had that. And so that process could be that the coach helps you, you know, stands there on the sidelines going, yeah, you can do this. You've got it. You know, you've working through it really well. So it could just be needing that positivity injection.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
if somebody
Yeah.
gives you those rewards, it gives you dopamine, and dopamine is the best way to actually, it's a form of pleasure that
Learn.
it makes you kind of learn a skill or sort of say, you know what, there's an advantage of me to do this. So that's what praising children is so important, because that gives them the little dopamine that they need to sort of say, yeah, this is the right thing to do, and they become better humans. Yeah, rather than always negativity. Negativity does not give you dopamine at all. Quite the opposite. It sucks it up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yes, my headset battery's low. That always tells me that it must be the end of the show.
Yep.
So I'm just going to plug on in, and we will wrap up Hotties in VR. Goddess Soleil, we miss you, and we hope to see you soon.
Yes.
Next week.
Love you.
I'm on standby,
Little heart
so
for you.
you're in the hot seat if you want to be. Cool. Big shout out to our producer, Big Papa, for sitting here looking so casual and comfortable, getting it together.
Good job.
Good resolution. Good streaming. Yes, and
Been fun.
what do we got? Let's pull out our accessories. What's your favorite accessory your avatar has? Lilybit, do you have any?
I couldn't help thinking of the naughty
Uh-oh.
stuff, but
That's what I got.
I do like. Oh, I don't have
Spanking?
it. Oh, well, actually,
don't have
my
anything.
avatar,
Oh.
she's made of cake. Yes, I do actually. If you
You
really
do,
want to see
darling.
what
Yeah,
my
yeah.
my accessories, it's
Yeah, that's super cool. I like it when you put your helmet back on. We're going to go out.
I
We're
do.
venturing into VR chat now. We are
Yay!
the Hotties in VR,
I'm made of
adventuring to
cake.
find new worlds and new
I'm made of
experiences and to
cake.
bring them to you. Show.
Oh, there we
you
go.
don't have
Somebody
to
took a bite
stand
of
up.
me. Somebody took a bite of me because
They
I'm
took
very
a bite
tasty.
out
Oh,
of
how
you. Wow,
cute.
you were so yummy.
Yeah.
So yummy.
Yeah.
Okay, who wants a
all
spanking?
sweetness
Funny.
inside. Oh,
Spank
don't get me
me.
started with the spanking. You can, yeah,
Yeah,
you can
you can,
spank us
shoot me.
both.
Can
Bless
you shoot me?
Oh, it's working. Yay.
Yes. This was
Injection.
awesome.
Okay, cool.
Well, thank you very much, guys, for watching. It's been
Thank
awesome.
you, guys.
And Soleil, we love you lots. Hope to see you soon. And
We'll see you soon
don't forget to
next week.
subscribe. Join us for
Hotties
next
in VR.
episode.
We're sticking to this